Alo, alo. Alo anh Linh ơi, anh có nghe được em không?
Bật này chưa?
Không,
Cái này nó
đang
cắm
đang
rồi.
dùng lửa đây.
Cái này không cần đúng không?
Ừ. Em vào thử. Vào thử.
Bây giờ anh vào cái nào nhỉ?
Vào cái link to.
Không phải link này đúng không?
Đúng không? Đúng không? Cái này đâu? Cái này đâu? Alo. Sao sao nhỉ? Alo, alo, alo.
Được rồi.
Đứng từ cuối phòng. Tôi có đứng từ cuối phòng mà.
Hello.
Ủa, anh nghe được không? Không nghe được. Không nghe được.
Ok rồi đúng không?
Tiếp. Tí nữa
Tôi
tôi
chú để là
1, 2, 3, 4.
rõ đúng không? Không, cái đây hỏi ông Linh luôn cái này.
Có. Nghe được đấy mà. Thì nhau. Bảo anh nói ra đi, bảo anh Linh nói. Anh Linh không bật mic cái chứ. Đấy. Đấy, bảo anh Tấn đứng, em cầm máy cầm đứng ngoài được không?
Bảo Linh không nói ở đấy xong có nói rồi.
Alo, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rồi, rồi.
Được. Nghe rõ rồi đấy.
Ai vừa nói đấy?
Alo.
Loa này họ fix rồi. Fix đâu mà. Mà sao anh không thể lên đèn mà lại lên đường nào mà? Đừng nó đang bắt vào mic của em mà.
Mic này.
Thế
Chưa
thì
phải là mic
khó.
kia đâu.
Cho
Không.
chú. Thế dùng mic cái này nhá, mà loa cái này cái màn hình anh Hoàng nhá. Thì loa màn hình to.
Tuấn giờ này bận không?
Bận vãi luôn em ạ.
Anh Tuấn ơi, session nào trước ấy? Email trước hay INS?
Email INS trước.
INS trước không?
Bạn
Hôm qua thấy mọi người khen là đợt này VPBank làm due diligence mà chuyên nghiệp quá.
Chuyên nghiệp à? Càng ngày càng chuyên nghiệp đúng không? Hy vọng. Năm ngoái làm cái DFI cũng ấy, cũng đông, cũng khoảng 24 bạn hôm đấy rồi.
Nhưng mà kiểu
Đông.
như là là cái section đó năm nay mình tổ chức rồi kiểu như
cũng phải rehearsal rồi các thứ, chuẩn bị slides liếc các thứ, các bạn cũng mình cũng phải ấy, cũng phải
mà tại vì em thấy là cái này là nó hơi thay đổi so với lại cái kế hoạch ban đầu đúng không? Cho nên là tuần trước bắt đầu là Frame mới báo em là cái
không
này
nó cũng thực ra là cũng khá là gấp lần này nên là chắc có cái nó chưa được.
Nhưng mà hỗ trợ kinh nghiệm.
Cái wifi là được rồi.
Rồi ạ, wifi này ok rồi ạ. Em chị.
Hôm nay chắc không có mấy bạn CD đúng không? Chắc là mọi người
Move dịch lên trên này.
It's quite spacious.
Không được ở bất kỳ một nước
Good,
nào.
good. That's the one.
Is there a specific seating arrangement?
No, they are leaving. They are going to Sri Lanka. They have other clients to visit.
They present and we can just
They are
I think I
also
might
for our
TV.
Yeah, I'll sit here. Otherwise, that's a bit too close.
Sure.
For the race, did you do the 10K or the 5K this time?
Thank you.
Nhưng mà xanh chắc là ra ngoài đón khách.
Last time you did 5 as well?
Yes, I find it there.
I'm seeing a foot doctor because I'm injured in both feet. Otherwise, I would have. The next time, I think next year I'll try to run the half.
Oh, okay.
Assuming I can get
Sure,
healthy.
you should. I'm considering next time 10K.
10K? Okay, you should.
That's one in January. 11
Oh,
January.
that's too soon.
Too soon, right?
Yeah.
I think at least after the IM before.
I think I've run once since the other race that we did, so I have not been running at all.
Okay. And 21, I think for you, maybe not, but for me, I need to practice it.
I mean, I definitely need to. I'm not in like good enough shape to run 21 right now.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
So the three sets of CDB now is up.
Chị nghe sáng nay không do đâu rồi.
Không mọi người cứ dồn đến đây nữa.
Team Rich.
Đây rồi, sang người đây còn ai nhỉ? Còn
Thằng Duy Đức.
Thằng đúng không?
Anh Toàn.
Hello.
Anh team Hằng rồi. Đức cho Đức. Chị Thảo lên. Thảo lên.
Không ai lên đâu. Chị bảo rồi mà.
Đức lên không?
You guys want
Đức
to send the
thì nó
center?
bảo có để nói phần sau hay sao?
Rồi, nếu mà anh present thì anh cắm thẳng máy. Đây chị Hằng lên xem. Cắm loa vào. Không, loa để bên em được. Control. Thế anh phải join vào. Loa ok rồi. Anh phải join vào team đúng không? Để share đúng không? Đúng rồi. Để em join vào team. Để
We already fixed the Wi-Fi for you.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Just guest point and you
yeah, you tap in the
Type
username
the,
and the password.
user and
Sửa hết
password.
rồi đúng không?
User and password.
Martin, Martin.
Team. Link nào nhỉ? Đây à? Cái không, cái trên cục, cái dài hoàng bên trên. Thế cái dòng dài hoàng bên đây. Đây.
Yes, đúng rồi.
Vâng.
Người có
Tôi sẽ Hello, everyone. Can you hear it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Can you also see our screen right now?
Yes, sure, I can see it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think we can start right now. Thank you so much for joining us today. The first sessions for this morning, I believe that the first day is quite good, right? So the second day, we hope that we have the same, good progress. So for the second day, we are starts with the ESG sections. I believe that it's very critical sessions, especially for kind of known from the DFIs and some policy plans. So I think that ESG is quite very important for every party. So I'm very pleased to introduce Ms. Hằng from ESG team, head of ESG team, and she will be presenting about the ESG and risk management ESG within VP Bank. And hands over to you for a brief, very brief introduction.
Yeah. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Hằng Nguyễn, an ENS specialist at VP Bank, and it's my pleasure to meet you and to give you an overview of our environmental and social risk management at VP Bank. I've incorporated all the key points and questions you share with us here at the meetings. So please feel free to jump in with any questions and comments at any time. And today, presentation organized in 4 main parts. The first one is ESMS implementation. Second, ENS capacity building and training. The third one is the ENS risk exposure. And finally, in an open discussions, I will also walk you through the several examples of green agricultural and non-agricultural SME customer. And now we start with the first part, ESMS implementation at VP Bank. In this slide, I'm pleased to share with you the journey of VP Bank in building and enhancing our ESMS, positioning us as one of the leading banks in sustainable finance in Vietnam. In 2016, recognizing the critical role of financial sector in supporting financial development, VP Bank established the ENS department. At the same time, we introduced our first ENS policies and procedures aligned with both the national regulation and IFC performance standard. This marked the beginnings of our commitment to integrating ENS consideration into the banking operations. And the second step is the system enhancement. By 2018, VP Bank has further enhanced the ESMS, developing the complete set of regulation, procedures, guidelines, tools, and other internal documents. At this stage, the ESMS became the indispensable part of our credit risk management framework, and ensuring that the ENS factors were systematically assessed and incorporated in our lending decisions. In 2022, VP Bank took a significant step forward by adopting the broader sustainable development strategy. The goals were to balance socio-economic outcome with the environmental responsibility. And to support this shift, we issued an ENS ESG risk management framework and fully integrated ESG elements into our existing risk control across the bank. The key developments in 2024, VP Banks update the ESMS in line with the new requirements from State Bank of Vietnam and involving international best practice. VP Bank also became the first financial institutions in Vietnam to issue to publish the climate risks, climate-related financial impact report on scenarios analysis, namely the TCFD report and human rights statement. And in this year, VBank established the Sustainable Development Group, bringing together key teams from the risk management divisions and the BFM divisions. And this new structure enhanced cooperation across the environmental, social, and governance functions, and strengthens policy alignment and support the VBank growing sustainable financial initiatives. And in this year, we also published the annual sustainability reports 2024, and working to further reinforce our climate risk management framework. On this slide, I'd like to briefly walk you through the key updates to VBank ESMS. First, about the ESMS policy, the Regulation 25 to 2024 outlines VBank core requirements for managing the environmental and social risks. In 2025, VBank regulation were amended under the regulations number 54 2025, mainly to replace the annex on high and medium risk ENS classification in line with the new requirements of the Decree 505 2025 under the Environmental Protection Law. The second is the ESMS procedures.
Sorry.
Yes.
Can I just generally question, what's the best way to do this? If I have questions, can I park them until the end, or can I just interject?
Yes, you just ask.
Okay. Just for the 2025 update, you said the update was made to replace the high risk. I didn't capture everything. I guess there was some national decree that was made about high risk sectors, and then the update was made to align with that national decree.
Yes.
Okay, and that decree specifically about which sectors are considered high risk in the national framework.
Actually, that decree is amended some key points of the 08/2024 decree, but the main things that affect with our policies is the high and medium risk classifications.
And that's for sectors.
Yes. So we just amended our policies to align with this part only. For the other part, because it's not affected much with our policy, so we still keep remaining.
Okay.
And the second is the procedure is remain the same with the the one in 2024, and the third is the ESMS guideline. The template guideline number 55 2024 and is amended version to number 229 2025 introduced two supplements. The first one is the bilingual template package for foreign clients, and the second one is the clearer instruction for several special cases during the ENS assessment. On the right, you can also see the several supporting components of the ESMS. The first is ENS governance in the credit contract. The second is our grievance mechanisms for handling ENS related complaints and requirements for reporting ENS incidents to the bank and our partners.
Just in terms of the covenants that are included in the credit contracts, what's the scope of that? What does that speak to?
I will go through it in the next slides later. Okay. Yes. And this is the quick overview of how VBank implements the ENS risk management in our credit process. We apply a holistic approach across all the customer segments, both enterprise and households. Our ESMS is guided by the policy, procedures, and templates package issued in 2024 and amended in 2025. The workflow is illustrated in the chart. The first is screening. We check whether the customer fall under the exclusive list. If yes, the proposal is declined. The second is the risk classifications. For eligible customer, we collect documents, information, and classify the ENS as risk as high, the risk as high, medium, low, or negligible. Some cases required an in-depth assessment or on-site investments. The third decision-making, ENS requirements, commitment, and action plans are integrated into the credit approval stage. And finally, monitoring. Once the lens is dispersed, we evaluate performance and check the compliance with the agreed ENS conditions. And this process is supported by the periodic assessment, agreement mechanisms, and mandatory reporting to ensure the ENS are properly managed throughout the credit life cycle.
Are you going to go through each section? So maybe I should just wait to see this.
No, I will go through by step by
Okay,
step
so you'll
by step.
go through this in these slides.
Yes, the first one is the screening and then classifications. And this section is about the VBank ENS initial screening. This screening process is crucial for ensuring that our credit granting activity aligned with our commitments to sustainable development and risk management. The result of this process is to record it in the credit proposals by credit officers and submitted to the appraiser unit. VBank exclusive list is built with the consultation with IFC and updated to fulfill the requirements of other lenders. VBank has published with this list on our official website. You can see on the screen, and in both in English and Vietnamese, so that all the stakeholders can access. We divided the exclusive list into two parts: restricted activities and excluded activities. The restricted activities include the production or trade in alcoholic beverage, excluding beer and wine, and gambling, casinos, and equivalent enterprise. This applies to the borrower with revenue from these activities more than 10% of previous year. And production of trade in tobacco are restricted with credit limits, so that the credit officers must determine the remaining credit limits for the industry before conducting the ENS assessments.
This is the overall credit limit within the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the thermocol, this is VBank risk appetite. The use of thermocol is restricted because of its significant environmental impact, particularly in terms of greenhouse gas emissions and air pollution. Based on the screening result, projects and credit requests are either rejected or granted with the specific conditions. You can see, for example, we reject with the project, with the new project and scale expansions projects, or working capitals for prolonging project life. And we will consider to grant credits to the project capitals that do not extend the life of the project or expand the project capacities. And there's a roadmap for applying emission reduction technology. Or the second case is to for the customers with fundings to invest the investment and technology to clean the exhausted gas, support the environmental protections, reduce GHG emission, etc.
In terms of thermal how many projects do you do? I think the existing exposure is quite limited, right? It's less than like 1%. But it looks like there's criteria for approving projects that may involve thermal coal. Is there, I guess, an internal roadmap for maybe reducing that over time, or to get to a stage where you're no longer considering thermal coal investment?
Actually, we already have the roadmap to reduce this, and we issued internally.
Okay.
And the number.
There's internal guidance.
Yeah, internal guidance.
Yeah,
and
actually, the thermal coal is a very long story. actually from the guidance from IFC, thermal coal is not an excluded list, but in the bank we see that the thermal coal is like high emissions or something. And first one, we do not provide the funding for the new facility. For existing facility, because you see in Vietnam we have the new power planning to transition the thermal coal, but the portion of thermal coal in Vietnam is still high. I think it's around 50% of total electricity grid, and to ensure the energy safety of the Vietnam, we just only provide the working capital or short term for existing, and we have a clearly roadmap to reduce the outstanding of thermal coals year by years. And now the outstanding from thermal coal of VBank is a very small portion.
In terms of the roadmap, and is that something you can share?
I can check with internal and maybe can share this data with you or not.
And then in terms of that timeline for reducing it, what does that look like?
Its timeline is based on the guidance from governments.
Okay.
I think government have a roadmap to 2030 or 2050 to reduce and phase out the thermal coals, and VBank can based on the guidance to build the internal limits.
It's aligned with the guideline.
Is there a clear transition finance methodology in Vietnam endorsed by the government or promoted by the government?
In Vietnam, we government have the plan to transition. I think in the first phase, we transition the thermal coal into gas to energy, and after that, we promote renewable energy like wind and solar power. But I think in the short term, we cannot phase out immediately the thermal coals. We need a long roadmap, and VBank can based on that. We need to balance because we need to ensure the energy safety of Vietnam, because we strong that now we strong demand high demand of coal power plant right now.
I think there are some involvement in trading as well.
Yeah.
It's a small national.
I can say you in the next slide you can see the outstanding of VBank for thermal coal, and it's very small.
And below it, the 16 activities are excluded ones that VBank refused to consider for credit granting regardless of size, capacities, and features. And this is a collection of ENS information and records that VBank collects during the assessment process. First, we start with the ENS questionnaire developed with the input from IFC, ADB, and SPV guidance. This helps us screen and understand customer activities from the very beginning. The second, we review the customer ENS legal documents, including permits and approvals required by Vietnamese regulations. Third, we gather investigation information from site visits and consultations with local authorities and communities to verify what we assess on paper. Fourth, we collect other supporting information such as details on environmental protection measures, labor and working conditions, and community health and safety. Fifth, for some cases, we require customers to develop an ESAF, which outlines the actions that the customer must complete to manage or mitigate the key ENS risks. And finally, these requirements are formalized in the credit contract, where customers commit to applying with the national ENS laws and VBank ENS policies. Together, these documents ensure that we have a complete and reliable foundations for assessing and monitoring ENS risks throughout the credit life cycle.
Yeah, and in terms of a few questions about this process, in terms of the questionnaire, you use the same basic questionnaire regardless of what segment you're looking at. That's to say SMEs, corporates.
Yeah, we use the same questionnaires for the sectors like CMB, CIB, and SME. But we here you can see on the screen, we have the set of 16 industry-specific ENS questionnaires, and we divided based on the industry features. For example, here is we like is the agricultural, mining, food and beverage, etc. And the last one is the remaining. Is the last one applies for remaining sectors.
Yeah, I guess one of the things I'm trying to understand is like the depth of the screening that you're doing, right? You know, it's to say that the consideration for SMEs wouldn't be the same consideration as a larger corporate client. And so then, you know, how is that differentiated within the questionnaires, within transactions?
But actually, in the questionnaire, we have a lot. We have like 30 until 40 questions, and based on that questions and the answer of the clients, we also know the natures of the customer operations. And also, beside with the questionnaires, we also collecting the ENS approval and permits, so that we understand there's business.
Yeah, yeah. I guess what I'm trying to understand is, you know, there are certain transactions where you would want to apply the performance standards, right? You know, IFC, we take a different view to application of the performance standards as some of our, you know, European BFI colleagues. But there's certain transactions where you would apply the performance standards, and others where you're just looking at exclusion list of national laws. And so then how do the like current procedures allow you to differentiate between, and I believe there are guidelines around IFC performance standard trigger transactions. Like how do the questionnaires allow you to, you know, appropriately differentiate between the transactions where you would apply the performance standards and those where you're just looking at, you know, permits and licenses and making sure they're in place?
Yeah, actually, you can see on the screen for example, each questionnaire we divided into 3 parts. The first one is general information. The second is a list of legal documents. The part 3 is the general information, and also we also added the additional social environmental compliant information form, that is the performance standards based questions, along with the 8 trigger questions addressing PS1 to PS8 topics. If any trigger is activated, the customer will have to fill in the additional assessment questions. And if any customers trigger to 8P8 questions, this belongs to the in-depth assessment, and on that case will be sent to our ENS team, and we will, along with the business officers, to assess to conduct the ENS assessment with the clients.
Okay. Okay. Just to spell it out, my understanding, right? So there's this questionnaire. It's a 3-part questionnaire. There's a first part, which is, I guess, just general information about the client.
Yes. Yeah.
The second part, which is essentially looking at ENS legal compliance from a national framework.
Yeah.
And then it's the third part that's looking at IFC performance standards aligned information. And then these are the 8 questions that would essentially ask service triggers for doing more in-depth assessment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then if you need to do more in-depth assessment, that is done between the relationship management team and then the ENS team.
Yes.
But the people who are kind of doing this first level review, that's the relationship management team.
Yes, that's
Okay,
right.
cool. That's
And here the essential legal documents required for ENS risk assessment, and these documents are grouped into 4 key areas: environmental, labor society, and industry-specific requirements. We are critical for ensuring compliance with regulatory standards and for supporting the effective of environmental and social risk management.
So I guess they're generally documents, permits, and licenses that are required from an environmental or human rights perspective, right? And then from a kind of industry-specific perspective, how would someone differentiate between what would be needed for, you know, agribusiness versus transportation?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, you're right.
Because the industrial specific requirement is like some permits or license for specific industry.
Yeah.
Like for example, chemical, you need the permission from trading or production the what kind of chemical or something like that, or like a waste treatment plant, you need to like a permit for transportation of hazardous waste or something like that. It's for example for industry specific requirements.
And then is there some, you know, is there somewhere where the specific industry specifications are noted? You know, is that part of the industry questionnaire, or how would someone know what permits and licenses are required for one industry versus another?
Yeah, because ENS question form we divided by sectors. You have the 16.
Okay, so
Yeah,
within
yeah,
that
yeah.
We
information-
already added.
Okay.
Already read.
Thanks.
And regarding the on-site investigation process, this is a critical component of our ENS risk assessment framework. At VBank, ENS site visits are carried out by credit officers based on the requirement from the appraiser unit, the ENS team, or other relevant departments. The purpose of this visits is to verify the project's actual conditions during both appraisals and post disbursement monitoring, and to ensure full compliance with the applicable ENS standards and regulations. During the site inspection, the credit officers assess the several key focus areas such as environmental protections, operational and radiation safety, fire prevention, health and labor conditions, as well as the broader social impacts. And to conduct the throughout ENS investment, we apply 4 main methods: document reviews, sensory evaluations, interviews, and expert opinions. In terms of timing, on-site investigations are performed during the customer evaluations as part of the due diligence process, and to continue after the disbursement to ensure the ongoing compliance and address any emerging ENS issues.
Is there specific, you know, from what we talked about before, it wasn't clear if all clients are subject to site visits. It seems that that's not the case. And so what are the specific criteria for when a client would be subject to a site visit? And then also to understanding, so the site visits are done by the credit officers. You know, are there situations where the ENS team would be part of that site visit? And then is there sufficient capacity at the credit officer level to do the site visit?
For general, for the general credit process, all the clients or all the customer will be we will conduct the on-site visits for all the customer by the RM, but for some cases the ENS site visits will be conducted by the RM judges. For some cases that required by our appraisers unit or by our ENS team. And actually our ENS team, we are just conduct the desk reviewed investigations. So we will not go along with our RM to the site visit. But actually we already have the plans for the 3 pilot project with the consultation. Which one?
It's Actually, it's in ENS team right now we have 2 persons.
Yes,
Mm.
so that
So we have so many loans per year. So we decide that ENS team will like provide the training for the RM and appraisal team to conduct the site visit about ENS, and based on the information they collect and based on the guidance from ENS team, the ENS team will review based on this documents. But
Based on the documents. that
yeah,
you provide.
but in next year we have a plan to like request more ENS experts to enhance the ENS capability teams, and ENS team will join with RM with some CAT A or HUE projects to conduct the ENS site visit.
Mhm. And then in terms of, I guess, augmenting the capacity, what does that look like in terms of the planning? Is that to say like you'll have one
Yeah.
additional person, 2 additional people? What-
In next year we have a plan to recruit one more.
Yeah,
ENS
actually,
expert.
we are in the processing of recruiting the new one. We are still, yeah,
And
and we hope that in the first, maybe in the earlier of the next month, we will have the new staff on
Mm.
ENS team.
so sometime in the first quarter of 2026.
We hope so.
Yeah.
So first quarters, and we have another program under the support from Probaco. We will sign the contract with IBIS Singapore
Okay.
to support BBank to enhance the capacity of ENS assessments, and we will choose the 3 CAT A projects, and IBIS Singapore will support us to conduct the site visits and in-depth assessment to
Okay.
in next year 2026.
So it's kind of like a coaching program. So for the ENS team.
Yeah.
So the ENS team will do a training, like an on-site visit together with
Yeah.
IBIS Singapore,
Yes.
just to kind of walk through site visits, things to look like.
Yeah.
What's the timeline for that?
I think in the like June 2025, 2026. Yeah.
Okay. And then that's for CAT A project.
We will select 3 CAT A projects.
How many CAT A projects do you have right now?
I think it's
For the CAT A or what?
CAT A.
CAT A, as the September 2025, we have 52.
September 2025.
Yeah, but actually is our internal the CAT A, because CAT A from VBank we based on the guidelines from the SBV, not SBV, the environmental protection law. Yes, so it's slightly different with the CAT A from the definitions of IFC.
Okay. Have you done kind of a mapping to see what's how many CAT As you would have under like a DFI definition?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, so from what I understand, you said that the CAT A that you have right now, how many did you say, 25?
52.
52. That's essentially in line with the National Environmental Protection Agency definition.
Mhm.
And so, which might not necessarily be aligned with how, IFC or DG or Proparco might consider a project CAT A. So I was just asking if you've done, either your own internal exercise or a mapping to see, of these 52 projects, how many would DFI consider CAT A, just to get a sense of that risk profile.
I think from the guidance from IFC, it's a CAT A, CAT B, or CAT C. It's based on qualitative indicators. So it's very hard for VBank to apply it. So we need to base on the guidance from the governments, because the government, they have a detailed list of the CAT ABC based on the industry, the scale of the projects.
Yeah.
So we have the very clear list to identify and classifications. But
Okay.
from the IFC, we it's that said, it's based on the qualitative indicators. So it's very difficult for us.
Yeah, I guess it's to say that you're just primarily relying on this list from the government, and there hasn't been sort of an internal exercise to see what it might look like otherwise. I mean, I think it would be an interesting exercise to do, right? Both in terms of, your understanding of what the risks look like in your portfolio, but also to kind of as independent third parties helping us understand what that might look like as well. Yeah, sure.
And actually, it's like we also category the projects with the CAT ABC, and also we look at after the 8PH questions, and we also there's separate we also combined between the category classifications and also the 8PS questions. Like if any customers trigger to the SPS questions, we also have to investigate more or to assess more about that questions and on that area that the clients trigger to. For example, it's like they trigger to the related to the land acquisitions, for example. We also require the customers to provide additional information about that projects.
And would that primarily sit with the relationship management team, or would that primarily sit with the EMS team? I guess I'm trying to understand, what point so my understanding of the process right now is a lot of it is on the relationship manager, right? It's kind of the interface with the client. And then, especially as projects get riskier, I'm trying to understand at what point does that transition to be more on the kind of technical specialist, right? So on the ENS team.
Which slide?
Okay. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
You knew I was going to ask that question.
And this slide explains when VBank conducts an in-depth ENS assessment, and this assessment is carried out by the ENS team and is applied to cases with high ENS risk, although involving potentially sensitive environmental and social factors. An in-depth assessment is required for credit proposals that fall into any of the situations shown on the screen. For example, classified as a high ENS risk, customer required to prepare an ESAP, or customer with a history of severe environmental violations or serious incidents within the last 5 years, the last loan size or last project cost along with tenor, etc. And for situations where VBank does not have the sufficient basis to evaluate ENS risk, ENS team will coordinate with the proposal unit to hire the independent expert, and we engage with the external ENS advisors when specialized expertise is needed to ensure an objective, comprehensive, and reliable assessment.
Just in terms of the criteria you noted, the customer is required to prepare an ESAP. I guess I'm trying to understand how would you judge that without having done your assessment first, right?
Yeah, it means that first the RM will do the initial ENS assessments. They will collect information, legal documents from the customers, and they will do their own assessment first, and then after that they will decide. They will decide this is the it need the ENS in-depth assessment by ES team or not, and then they will submit all the document informations to our teams.
So the RM is the one who makes the determination about whether or not the supplementary assessment is needed by your team.
Yeah, but they will do the first initial assessment, and then the appraiser unit, they will look through into all the things that the RM have done.
Yeah.
If is any corrections or anything needs to be fixed, they will ask the RM to finish this, or to require for the consultation from our teams.
Well, when you say the appraisal unit, what's their role in this? Like, where do they sit in the process? So the RM is the front end of the process. Is the appraisal unit like the credits team that's looking at the work that the RM did?
Yeah.
The April appraisal unit is from credit team, right?
Credit appraisal.
Yeah, they're essentially just looking at what the RM did to make sure.
Yeah.
So we have the issue to cover it.
Okay, so the appraisal team is essentially looking at
That's right.
the work that the RMs did to make sure it's in line with the internal guidelines. Okay. And then, sorry, really quickly, about the third-party consultant. Could you just walk me through again when you would procure the services of a third-party consultant? And then has that happened to date?
Actually, up to now is we haven't have the ENS external ENS expert consultations.
Okay. So then
We
what's
all
the,
do internally.
everything's internal, but what's the criteria again, please?
It's just okay that we don't have the enough basis to evaluate the project,
Okay.
and that assessed decided by the our ENS team or the our IM team.
Okay. Okay.
And this slide.
Yeah.
And this slide introduced the environmental and social action plans, or ESAP. An ESAP is required when we identify the gaps between the client current practices or documents and VBank ENS policy requirements. It applies to customers who fail to meet the legal requirements, cannot provide sufficient ENS documents, request an extension due to the project constraints, or assessed as having the potential ENS risks. The ESAP outlines the ENS risks, the corrective action needed, the expected outcome, the evidence required, timelines, and the responsible parties. The customer must sign the ESAP form, and the maximum commitment period is 6 months. Importantly, the customers' ENS commitments under the ESAP are reflected in the credit contract as conditions for maintaining the loan. This approach not only safeguards the bank from the potential risks, but also encourage the clients to adopt more responsible and sustainable business practice.
Okay. And then kind of regardless of segment, you're looking, you're putting in place ESAPs. So there would be ESAPs for SMEs as well as corporate clients.
You mean we apply ESAP for any customer?
Yes, any customer.
Yeah, it's the same form.
And then in terms of ESAP actions, what do you typically find are the issues that are showing up in ESAPs?
The typical cases is the lack of the legal documents, for example, or they have the violate on the environmental or social sector issues, and in the process of remedies that issues.
Okay, so it's remediating environmental or social issues in their practices.
Yes.
Okay. And these are issues that come up from your due diligence, or is this from maybe some audits that they have that they're required, like statutory audits, or how are the issues adjudicated?
Sorry, I haven't get your questions.
Yeah, in terms of, you said those are two cases, right? It's
Yeah.
like, let's say you need a permit that you don't have, and that's one case where you would put that in the ESAP action. And then the other case is, environmental or social issues related to their business practices.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to get a sense of, are these issues that are identified during your internal due diligence, or maybe they're subject to an environmental audit and they had an action that they needed to remediate and they didn't, and that's why it shows up in the ESAP. Like, how does it show up?
Actually, there's many cases. Some cases is we have information from authorities that the customer is in the remediations process. But some cases when our IM come to their factories for site visits, for example, they show there is the issue related to the label, or the issue related to the firefighting facilities, for example. they haven't finished their facility equipped. So in that cases, our ENS, our IM will contact with ENS team for advisory, and we will ask them to conduct the ENS on-site visit on our on-site visit form, and also take pictures or some questions to our clients. And after that, we will consider like if there is the in what extent our customer need to be provided as the evidence to recover that issues.
Okay. And then that shows up in the ESAP.
Yeah.
In terms of then the ESAP actions, do you ever have actions that are substantive to commitment, conditions precedent or things like that? So it's to say before they can receive the money, they need to
Disbursement.
Conditions precedent to
Tức
disbursement.
là đưa vào điều kiện giải ngân.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But actually, we give it's in the disbursement requirements and also in the legal in the credit contracts. But actually, because we give our customer the time frame to finish the ESAP, for example, in 6 months.
Okay.
So actually, they sign the ESAP as a commitment, and after 6 months, our IM will check the process of the remedies issues, and then if our customer cannot finish to recover the issue at that time, we will ask them to provide more evidence that to show that within 6 months what they did in the 6 months, and it's also the basis for us to decide the extensions of the ESAP, for example, for the next 6 months, because in some cases they cannot finish all the things in 6 months.
Okay. So it's to say that there's an ESAP that's put into place. You might still disperse the money, but within a 6-month time frame, I guess post disbursement, or they have to show you either need to close out the issue or they need to show you what progress that they've made in closing out the issue. And then you essentially do a reevaluation at that 6 months to see what additional work they need to do. And that also forms the basis of extending the contract.
Extending the ESAP.
The ESAP. So you would extend the ESAP if they haven't met the action.
Yeah, because in the credit contracts, we already have the covenants related to the ESAP. Is if they cannot if they cannot finish the ESAP and they fail to provide the evidence, we will stop. Stop the credit granting.
Okay, yeah. I guess that's what I'm trying to understand, right? Is that, is it just perpetual extensions to not close out the ESAP?
It's quite standard, I think. Like, for example, you can give the money to the client completed ESAP, it's not yet completed, right?
Yeah.
Or however, you have to reevaluate the ESAP again, and then you can show the evidence or not stop that kind of stuff like that. I think it's quite a common standard. So that's what we are working with the clients. Quite similar to the other parties.
Good question. So, would it be mandatory prepayment event under your loan agreement?
Mandatory prepayment if they fail the ESAP.
It's
It all depends, right?
Yeah, it depends. It depends case by case, because some item in ESAP is like a minor one, but the major ones we considering to repayment, mandatory repayment.
Right.
Yeah.
And in your practice, do you have many cases like that when you were asking for a mandatory repayment?
No, not yet, because mandatory repayment is a huge impact with the clients. You want to join with client to support them to enhance the ENS capacity of client, rather than we just like strict on the mandatory repayments of clients.
I guess, following up on that, what is the most common situation then? If you have a client who after 6 months has not met the, VSAP, and maybe they've failed to show sufficient progress, what typically happens?
Trong process xin giấy phép đúng không? Thì phải cung cấp thêm cái
Nhưng mà đây
evidence
là
thì mình sẽ
hỏi là có trường hợp nào đã xảy ra chưa? Chưa đâu. Because our clients, our customer trying to follow with the bank policies and guidelines. And
So it's just that you don't see these situations.
yes, actually, there's some situation that our customer is meet the difficulties in requiring the authority license. But actually, we also give them the advisories or the the instructions how to attend this step by step with them. Like for the environmental license, the first step that they have to find the advisories that are provided for temples, and the second one is they prepare the environmental license report and submit to the authorities.
Yeah.
So we will go with them step by step.
Yeah, it's to say that you don't really have cases where you need to kind of accelerate the facility. Like most of the time, if there are issues, you would work with them to try to remediate the issue.
Yes.
Okay, sure. Okay.
And this slide describes how VBank categorize projects and activities based on their ENS risks. And we understand that the proper categorization is crucial for applying the appropriate risk management measures and ensuring the compliance with our ENS policy. VBank categorized projects and activities into 3 main categories. The category A is high risk, category B medium risk, and category C low risk. And for the high risk activities are identified based on the several factors, including the risk of first is the risk of the environmental pollutions. This includes the scale, capacity, type of production, business or services, as well as the sensitive ENS factor like environmental impacts, community health, biodiversity, and country's resources. The second one is the levels of the compliance with the legal documents, legal regulations on environment and society of the customer projects. And additionally, compliance with the VBank policies and guidelines is evaluated, and the expert recommendations.
Right, one more question. Previous slide, you say risk of pollution. What's the scale or what's the kind of benchmark when you say it's above the pollution level?
Like from the discharge water pollution level, we have the national standards. So for this, right? And you so discharge is above the national standard. You are the pollutions, but you under the national standard, you do not have pollution.
In this slide, I would like to share you a concise overview of ENS components embedded in the VBank credit contracts. ENS requirements have been integrated into our lending documents in 2018, with the most recent updates issued in 2024. These covenants ensure that the borrower understands their obligations and that the bank has the right mechanism to monitor and manage ENS risks throughout the loan life cycle. The covenants cover the several key components, including the conditions for disbursements, the right of the bank, the borrower obligations, required undertakings, and warranties, ongoing monitoring requirements, and potential loan termination in cases of non-compliant with ENS commitments. And together, these provisions have ensured that finance project comply with Vietnamese ENS laws as well as VBank internal policies and standards.
It's only applicable to corporate clients,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apply for corporate client
only applicable to corporate clients. So
Yeah.
then SME clients, there's.
and SME and corporate
Yeah.
clients.
And household clients also.
Okay.
Not apply for individuals.
Yeah. RB.
clients, RB.
And he explained how VBank conduct due diligence and makes approval decisions. ENS due diligence carried out by the appraisal unit and is a comprehensive process that bring together information and support from multiple departments to identify potential ENS risks and impacts. At a minimum, VBank requires three main factors: the client past and current compliance with ENS law and standards, the client's internal framework and ability to manage ENS risks, and the potential impacts of the project on the environment, society, and climate. And all the ENS findings are consolidated into the appraisal report, which includes the screening results, customers' disclosure, site visits, observations, community feedback, and any expert assessments. This report serves as the basis for the approval stage. And during approval, decision makers evaluate the ENS risks and decide whether approve or reject the credit proposal. Any required ENS conditions are formally recorded in the credit approval resolutions and must be met before the disbursement.
Are there recent cases where transactions were rejected due to ENS issues?
Up to now, for the approval stage, there's no cases.
I guess it would happen up front. Right?
Yeah, because we already finished our ENS assessment before that. And if our clients agree to sign the ESAF, and we assess that they can't how to say to recover their ENS issues via the ESAF, so so the credit proposals will submit for the ENS appraiser unit for approval and then for approval. And if at that stage the initial ENS assessment, the customer refuse to sign the ENS ESAF, or they have significant issues related to the ENS, it will be stopped at that stage.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I guess you just would not take something to credit committee that had an ENS issues that you couldn't remediate with the client.
Và trường hợp nào thực xảy ra trường hợp just by credit approval, ENS related.
But yes, there's suspenses case, but not at the approval stage. It's suspenses in the
Screening.
screening for the
Just-
ENS
It
assessment.
would not get to that point where you would be at the brink of credit committee and you haven't
Mm.
sorted out the issues or assessed.
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Okay.
Because in some, we also have some cases that our clients are not willing to cooperate with our bank, and is suspend for maybe 6 or 8 months for the for two parties, for our customers and IM to work together.
And then just for this appraisal report, this is included as part of the credit memo that goes to the credit committee?
You mean it's approval stage?
Yes, please, yeah.
Yeah, sure. There's here you can see that the appraiser unit, they already they have their appraisers report, and ENS term and condition is just one part of in that report.
Okay. I just have a question about the sector specific ENS assessment. I'm cognizant that, at least in the conversations, part of the facility is meant to go for agri financing. And so just wanted to get a sense of what is the scope of the due diligence that you typically do for agri related financing.
You please let me clarify your question. This means that you ask is that there is the differences between the industry, for example, for agriculture in the sectors. What is the difference with the other?
Yeah, I guess, you know, part of the discussions that have been taking place for the facility, some of it would go towards supporting agri related SMEs. And so because of that, it would be to better understand, you know, what does the scope of the due diligence you conduct look like for, you know, generally for the agricultural sector, but then if you have agri SMEs, well, what are you typically looking at? And I'm also cognizant that there's a prior facility that we did global supply chain finance. I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
but there were specific, you know, augmentations that were made in the ENS practices around looking at like child labor or biodiversity. So just trying to get a sense of, you know, what are the current protocols that exist related to the agri sector, and then, you know, agri SMEs if you differentiate.
I get your point. Actually, from the agricultural sector, we have the like a separate form guidance for ENS form for that. You can see in the 16th form of VP Bank is first one, and the second one in the agri sector of VP Bank, we do not have much client in the crops or productions. We have so many clients from the like trading or like a processing phase. So I think it normally agricultural business will trigger the PS6 of IFC performance standards, but we do not have any large client from the like crop or productions. We only focus on the processing on trading. So and I think processing and trading is the win similar with other processing industry. So we can so it's not may trigger some biodiversity or labor issues.
I mean, it is, if you're looking at the supply chain, you would also still want to look at those issues and how they present themselves in the supply chain, right?
Yeah.
So you would still want to look at.
Actually, from supply chain on agriculture, we not integrated in the ENS system because we only like take a pilot from some very like a specific program with under IFC support, like program to support for the coffee processing. So we based on the guidance from IFC to like take the pilot to ENS assessment in depth based on the PS6. We can use some tool like Forest Watch or like some other tool from IFC guidance, and we have a support from IFC team to identify the risk and the area with the high risk and medium risk or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is to say that for that there is some interrogation of the supply chain, and at least in mapping out, you know, are these, you know, low, medium, or high risk areas?
Yeah.
And then I guess similar to your existing processes, there's a decision to make about doing more in-depth due diligence if something is identified as a high-risk area.
Yeah, sure. Because on the program,
this is just for coffee.
Yeah, for the coffee only.
Okay.
But in this program is we based on the like international certificate like Rainforest or FSC or something. So this certificate will cover almost of the topic about the PS6 of IFC. There is some like some gaps between the Rainforest FSC with IFC performance. We will add the additional questionnaire for the clients.
But essentially, is it to say that the clients you're working with are clients who already have, sustainability certification?
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
especially using that as a proxy
Yeah.
for good sustainable management?
Yeah. The targeted clients is only for they have the international certificates.
Yeah, under this pilot program?
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
And here is the ENS monitoring during the loan period. VBank regularly monitors customers' operations to ensure they continue to meet all ENS requirements. The monitoring frequency depends on the project risk level, and activities may include the site visits, document checks, and verification of corrective actions. And ENS monitoring is conducted by our IM. They perform the regular ENS monitoring as part of the customer relationship management and by the post credit control officers they review and verify the result of ENS monitoring and the effectiveness of the corrective actions. And ENS team provide the guidance and support to contacted immediately when significant environmental or social issues arise. And when any non-compliance is identified, VBank applies the strict management measures like depending on the severity of the violations, the bank may issue the warnings, suspend the further disbursements, and request early loan repayments, or even recover the loan before maturity. In all cases, customers are required to take the immediate corrective actions, and this process have ensured that both the bank and the customer manage the ENS risk responsibilities throughout the loan life cycle.
Just trying to align on the frequency. So for high risk, it's twice a year. Others, it's once a year. But it also says that the credit officers perform regular ENS monitoring as part of the customer relationship management. So how do those two align with each other? Are they just looking at it once a year, or what is the scope of this monitoring that the credit officers are doing?
You mean? I haven't.
No, I mean, it's maybe this is just my understanding, my misunderstanding. It says that the frequency for the monitoring for high risk is twice a year.
Yeah.
And then others is once a year.
Yes.
But then it also says that the credit officers perform regular ENS monitoring.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider once a year regular. So I'm just trying to say, is there something else that they're doing that doesn't fit within the scope of this once a year activity?
Ý được bác là
Em chưa hiểu.
vì bạn là cán bộ tín dụng đang từ vai trò là giám sát về môi trường và xã hội, vậy thì cái phạm vi anh đã phạm vi giám sát của cán bộ tín dụng cũng như là khi mà giám sát môi trường và định kỳ như nào anh đang
hỏi về cái phạm vi cái scope
đang concern về cái gì đấy.
Không, ý của anh ấy là mình có cả giám sát khác, tức là chỉ giám sát khác về sau vay về tín dụng, với lại có tần suất riêng về giám sát về môi trường xã hội thì nó align với nhau như nào, thì cái này của mình là thực tế là người chỉ tích hợp luôn vào quá trình giám sát tín dụng, đúng không?
Yeah. Actually, the ENS monitoring is aligned with the credit monitoring. For the general, for the low and medium risk customer, they will go together because for the credit monitoring is also once per year. But for the high risk,
sorry, just to clarify, when you say that's like when they'll actually go on site to visit the client, or
monitoring, they also go to the factories of the customers to do that ENS to do the monitoring.
But that's the one that takes place once a year, as opposed to there are other monitoring activities where you can call them up, you can drop
of course we have the regularly monitoring, and we have the add-on monitoring.
Okay, that's So the once a year is when they're actually going on site to visit the clients, visit their facilities.
Yeah, it's a regular monitoring.
That's the regular month.
Yeah.
So what the once a year month?
Actually, we have a normal process for credit monitoring.
Mhm.
So
And the ENS is
we can
incorporated into-
integrated ENS monitoring is, for example, credit monitoring is 4 times per year.
Okay.
So we will pick for one time or the first or the second or the first or the third
Mhm.
times on credit monitoring. We integrated ENS monitoring in here.
Okay,
So-
fine. So they're in regular contact with the client for this quarterly monitoring, and then one time a year, you're integrated into that where you'll do a kind of more in-depth review of the ENS aspects.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And also we have the form for our RM to follow and to finish their ENS monitoring. And now we move to the second part, the ENS capacities and training. And here's ENS risk management involve multiple roles and responsibility. This collaborative approach ensure that ENS consideration are integrated across the organizations. At the strategic level, the management board set the overall ENS directions. The senior ENS officers, our CRO, oversee all the ENS matters. Under this structure, our ENS team is responsible for developing the ESMS, maintaining the policies and procedures, and providing tools and guidelines for implementations. And for day-to-day ENS work in the credit circle, our business units, including the credit officers, relationship managers, and analysts, conduct the ENS screening, due diligence, and monitoring. They are supported by appraiser unit, the credit approvers, and other supporting units involved in the documentations and operations. This structure ensures the clear roles and effective coordinations and consistent application of the ENS requirement across the bank.
The chief risk officer is the ENS senior officer.
Yes.
And in October 2025, the ENS functions were officially moved from the legal and compliance divisions to the risk management divisions. This reflects the VBank's strategic directions to aim the ENS risk more deeply into our overall risk governance framework. And under this new setup, the ENS team is now part of the Integrated Risk Management Center, enabling much closer coordination with other risk units across the bank. VBank Sustainable Development Group include the key members from the Risk Management Division and BFM divisions. These structures enhance the cooperation across the E, H, and G pillars, strengthen the policy alignment, and support our ongoing sustainable finance initiative. And overall, these changes reinforce our commitment to stronger ESG governance and more effective implementation of ESMS.
BFM, what does that mean, please?
BFM is balance sheet and financial markets.
BSM is now belonging to the financial market. It's more like balance sheet management.
Yeah. So we in VBank FI team, we instructed in promote sustainable financing and green and social.
Okay, great.
And VBank also understand that the training plans is to build team capacities and awareness is very important aspects at the staff involvement is fundamental at all levels. We offer various training programs for our staff to enhance their ENS knowledge and skills. We also highlight our training results for 2025, including onboard programs, enhanced training for IMs, and mandatory e-learning courses across all the targeted groups. In addition, we provide an overview of external training program that our ESG team participated in, covering international best practice, climate risk management, and sustainable finance. And finally, you will see our training roadmap for 2026, which outlines how we plan to expand advanced ESMS and ESG modules, improve the communication with stakeholders, and introduce new learning activities such as climate screen and real stress testing. And the roadmap also shows a timeline from designing and preparing the training materials to roll out mandatory and enhanced program for staff. Altogether, this section reflects our continuous commitment to building strong ENS expertise across the bank and ensuring that sustainability is embedded into all the core operations.
Just a question in terms of the courses on advanced ESMS, ESG topics. Is there a specific topics that you're trying to roll out for 2026?
Which one in 2026?
Yeah, it says expand targeted courses on advanced ESMS, ESG topics.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get a sense of, what topics are you looking to further expand on?
Actually, in each year we will prepare different topics for our different targeted group. For example, in this year we have the enhanced training program for our RMs.
And
And
2025.
yeah, 2025. And in this training, we try to give them the instructions for some specific sector or specific type of customers to have them in their daily ENS assessment, for example. So for the next years, we will prepare another topics, but we haven't decided yet at this time. But actually, in every year, for example, for 2024, we prepare the advanced training program for our appraiser unit. It's 2024.
Okay.
So we have the different type of topics for different target group, and we haven't decided yet at this time.
Okay, great.
And the next part is our ENS risk exposure. And here on the slide is the exposures by industry sectors, and we already sent information through via documents before the meetings. And the next one.
For the overall portfolio?
Yeah, our portfolio.
Yes.
Do you have this differentiated by like this segment? So to say corporate versus SME.
Actually, our report is
You mean industrial sectors by segments?
Yes.
Yeah, I think actually they would be provided.
Questionnaire, right?
Okay.
But unfortunately, we do not have prepared for this slide.
And these sections provide an overview of our risk exposure, focusing on the activities considered as sensitive or prohibited, as well as our portfolio exposure to fossil fuels. This summarize the outstanding amounts and proportions of each category within the total business portfolio, and the specific cases related to coal-fired power. This one we also sent to you. Do you have any questions related to this?
No, not at that.
So I see carbon.
Yeah. And this also. And the next one is our 20 large financing activity.
So, sorry, do you mind just going back to the prior slide?
Which one? This slide?
The But someone had a comment online. Slide 23 again. 23.
Yes,
I would like
could you show slide 23 again, please? On the
Twenty-three.
detailed sector exposure. Yeah, this one. Okay, thank you. Okay, no further comments. Thank you. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of real estate exposure.
Can I see 25 again?
25.
Okay, thanks. And then I guess like the comment that was just made, a lot of the top exposures are in real estate.
Or the next slide, right?
Yeah. And then for the last column, any ENS risk and measures taken to mitigate the risk, that's not applicable, and just wanted to better understand why that was the case. But so these are mostly, it's mostly real estate developments, right? So it's construction of real estate project.
Yeah.
And then, you know, what is the scope of the ENS assessments that are being done for these transactions? And then trying to understand why the findings of the ENS risk and measures taken to mitigate the risk are not applicable. Is it just a sense of what those risks entail? Or, you know, does that not factor into the scope of the ENS management system? Because I'm cognizant that there's some sectors that are not within it, right? There's some specific financing. So just trying to understand, you know, where that conclusion came from.
We can separate some, you know, kind of real estate here, right? I mean, that's a ENS evaluation, something like that. I think it's a different from Cat I to Cat B, Cat C, right?
Yeah.
Here, this not only Cat I.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
can explain.
It's just the large financing activities, and they have the different categories in that 20 list. Is a list of 20 customers. As because like because there's 20 customer here, so if you have any questions with regarding to any customers, so please send us the questions, or you want to work
Yeah, I mean,
on this
I just
now,
have
because
for now, I have an overall question about, you know, kind of consistently throughout, right? Even for the from 1 to 20, the ENS risk and measures taken to mitigate the risk are not applicable, right? So there's I don't know if that speaks to kind of an overall view of, you know, the real estate financing and the risks that are applicable. You know, I'm cognizant it's different types of financing as well. So I'm just trying to get a sense of where this conclusion is coming from, if there's any kind of general finding to draw from it.
Actually, for these 20 customers, because regarding to their skills and terms of tenors and value of exposures, all of this is belongs to the in-depth ENS assessments cases. And we also go together with our RMs in the ENS assessment process, and for that, because like there is a 20 the list here. So if you have questions regarding to any of these customers, so I can, because in general we
assess top 20 could be breakdown in sub criteria, right?
Yeah.
I think for example, you can see that the construction residential buildings here, or building completion and finishing is in the two.
Yeah, I guess, you know, if I just
That's-
look at this independently, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, you guys provide this information to us as part of the annual reporting. I would say, oh, they didn't identify any ENS risks related to these activities. That's what not applicable would speak to for me, right? But if you're doing like a $300 million like real estate development project, there's, you know, have contractors, you likely have subcontractors, you know, maybe you have to buy land.
Yeah.
Like there's something there.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, trying to understand, like, you know, is there something there? Like, are there risks there? And you guys just didn't have a sense of the risk, or, you know, or why was it not applicable?
Yeah, and you can see here most of the cases the buying and selling resident building is involved in the to buying the loan purpose of our client of our customer is to buying the
like finish
completed houses
like a secondary buy.
Right?
No, it's Tessie because they just buying the trading.
They're going to be, they're just trading it. They're not even operating it.
Yeah, they just trading. They just buying the for the apartments or the house. Villas, and then they
grant the credit to the client. So they use the money to buy the completed projects.
They buy the completed project and they're operating the project.
Operating the project, so it's more like the CATC. For example, for, you know, kind of some construction for, you know, like, for example, other real estate here, if involved in the project side, right? So it would be considered Cat A or Cat B, right?
For the constructions, we differentiate between the type of the constructions. For example, if for the customer who required loan for constructions of finishing the buildings, for example, just inside the houses, we category in most of the case we category them as C. But for constructions of the projects, like with the how to say, to specific the type of constructions, is normally as B or A in some cases. For construction is also different.
Sorry, the first group that you categorize as C, what is that? Construction?
For finishings, like they already have the apartments.
Yeah.
But the construction is just coming to with the
complete
furniture,
or something.
complete the furnitures or design in for the decorations for the apartments.
It's kind of like interior design work.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And then the other is just buying and sell. It's buying completed, finished buildings in order to operate those buildings.
Yeah.
This is all residential. Anything involved like infrastructure or associated infrastructure for the resident
affordable housing, something like that. Infrastructure like bridge or
road. Yeah, I mean, there's some civil engineering projects here. So
for the top 20, there's no constructions.
well,
For the top 20, we have the project related to that you concerned, but not in the 20 large.
Not big size.
Yeah, big size.
Infrastructure would be get involved in more.
It depends. It depends on the skill, and but we're not strong in another infrastructure, basic infrastructure like road and bridge. We don't have much.
But is there any part of the loan used for the associated infrastructure within this residence area, like the streets, building the streets or building some, I don't know, electricity or pipes, water pipes to support the resident neighborhood? Any money used for that purpose?
I think it's we have, but it's like a small portion. It's not so in the top 20.
It's to say most of the top 20 is really just you're buying completed projects in order to operate the project. Right.
Why they buy complete projects and operate? They don't develop. They don't use the money. It's not the money going to developers.
They just do the trading.
300 million. It's huge. It must be a huge project.
I think maybe the reason behind, because you know that's the legalized series what the developer is concerned, right? So for example, if we can buy the completed we will.
You're not
you know,
taking on the
we're
risk,
gonna take the time, for example, to so resolve the problems. And maybe we have the, you know, the product and service to offer to the end users, right? So I mean, that is less risks or less risky than, you know, like kind of investing, you know, the very first stage of the projects. But of course, the margin would be less, the profitability. That is what we are really concerning on, you know, kind of this kind of project. But however, we can mitigate the risks. By, for example, obtain the, you know, the license, or, you know, kind of the land acquisition or land rights, something like that.
Yeah, those guys are being financed by someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not you guys. Okay.
bất động sản thì tôi biết mình sẽ không trả lời về
Someone asked online, can you explain more customer 14, construction of other civil engineering projects? But it also falls under buying and selling residential houses and land use rights.
Engineering.
Yeah. But 14, right? For this customer, their main business is construction of civil engineering projects, but actually the purpose of the finance is just buying and selling residential houses and land use rights.
Okay.
It's also they trading.
Okay.
So the tenor is
Yes.
like 24 months, not so long.
Yeah, I guess they do civil engineering projects as well, but specifically for this, they
For
ask
the
you
kind
for
of
money
transaction,
in order
Yeah.
to
Yeah, right,
buy a completed, you know,
Right.
residential housing for operation.
right.
Yeah.
Mm.
And actually our ENS assessment is based mainly on the purpose of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to call them. And then someone asked online, does VV Bank have any policies, targets, or caps related to the coal sector for next year onwards? I think we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
And you said yes, you know, in line with the internal guidance that's been developed by the guidance that's been developed by the Vietnamese government. You have crafted your own internal policies on that, right?
Yes.
So like,
Yes.
do you need any time for such an AML?
Email too.
Cái AML thì có làm không hay làm VNS?
ESG là vẫn còn một cái vẫn còn một cái về Paris Alignment.
Ok, mình làm tiếp tại vì em hiện giờ đã không có.
Okay.
Thì Paris Alignment thì có hỏi không hay là vẫn cứ làm tiếp?
Thì cứ nói đến đâu thì anh ấy hỏi đến đấy của mình.
Paris Alignment sẽ là
Anh ấy không.
Paris Alignment em sẽ không hỏi.
Cái đánh giá trên bảng hỏi thôi đúng không? Thì lắp vào tool thôi mà. Sau đây là HR 11 giờ. Vì nếu mình làm luôn thì sẽ không làm AML nữa.
Sorry, let me check. I think you can go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
I don't know if there are any specific questions online. I've asked most of the questions I asked during our I had during our conversation.
From hi, hello.
Sorry. Could
Yeah,
you come
hello,
again, please?
Yes, hello, my name is Gina from Korea Exim Bank. I have a few questions and clarifications regarding ENS due diligence. As I understand, you may apply for the ESMS or ESDD for your bank to client-based or product-based or each other transactions to each of the small, medium, large, regardless of address board or duration.
Là mình tiếp cận trên đánh giá là project based or loan purpose based. Trong việc đánh giá ABC thì mình sẽ thì chỉ có thể trả lời.
For classifications of ENS risks, we based on mainly on the loan purpose basis.
And that also informs the scope of the due diligence.
So scope of due diligence.
Yeah. First is a loan purpose, and then we will check if it's related to the project or not. and we will do the next step later.
Okay, what does mean the purpose the loan? Is it you mentioned before that each of the specific industry cases that you're apply for each of ENS MS system or the regardless of a loan modality, you're going to apply for every transactions.
We mean, for example, when the client has a business license with so many sectors or something, but the purpose of loan, when you seek your loan from the VP Bank, is only for the single purpose for something. Actually, for example, the client have some industry sector in the business license, like transportation, like energy development or something. But the loan from VP Bank provide only for the transportations only. So we can only like take the ENS assessment for the transportations. We not like take the overall ENS assessment for whole the license or business license of the clients.
So far, how many cases do you apply for the ESDD?
Bao nhiêu case một năm để USDD?
We don't. No,
Yeah, I will provide you the data later because in the bank in our policy, all the loan from the corporates, SME, and household business, we must be take the ENS due diligence in our policy. So we will take the data and send you later.
Yeah, because not all of the case we submit to the ENS teams. So we only have the data of the cases that go through ENS team only. For other cases that from assessed by the RM and appraiser units, we don't have data now.
Okay. How many cases do you apply your own informed social due diligence so far?
For ENS team, as the end of September 25 is the 125 cases.
125 cases. So how
Yes.
long does it take for the due diligence for each of the cases?
Actually,
I
it's
mean,
also
yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Scoping, categorization, and your own risk assessment, and then monitoring, and then SUP, elaborate SUP, and then include it into the loan documents and even monitoring process.
Actually, it also depends on the willingness of the customers. But for cases that goes through the ENS teams is normally the minimum is at least a week for assessment, ENS assessment to finish. But it may be much longer. Like as I mentioned before, for the customers who are not willing to sign the ESAP when we identify the ENS receipts, like it takes us like 6 or 8 months or more than that for one case.
Okay, thank you so much. And then could you back to the page 7, and then I need to clarify some of the exclusion lists.
So really quickly, you said that the ENS team, you've assessed 125 transactions. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of 2025.
Not end of, it's September of 2020. Because now we don't have the.
And that's 125 through this year, or including?
No, just to this year from
Only this
the.
year.
Only 2025.
Yeah, 25 until September, end of September.
120.
Yeah, 125 cases.
Okay, and this is essentially transactions that were referred to by the relationship management team, where they referred the transaction to the ENS team for more
Yes.
emphasis.
Yes.
Are there any general findings from the type of transactions that they refer to you?
You mean the findings after assessments?
No, are there particular types of projects that are being referred to more so than other types of projects? I'm just trying to get a sense of.
You mean like the criteria like for ours ENST, most of the case is high risk categories or the cases.
High risk in terms of in line with the Vietnamese legislation.
Yes. And another one is the cases with the loan values is above 5 million US dollars and over the tender.
Criteria for DFI, European DFI.
Yes.
Okay.
The tenor over 3
Yeah.
years and
the last case is the ISAF.
10 million.
ISAF case, yeah. ISAF cases is the most frequently.
Okay, do you want to ask questions about the excluded list?
Yes, could you a little bit clarify what that means excluded activities in credit granting, that regarding hydropower, used ship and palm oil, other lodging. I kind of understand the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And maybe 6 aquatic products, waste and scrap. What does that mean?
Can you,
I mean, do you? Yeah, you're not
scrap,
going
yeah.
to provide any loans or any financial support for this kind of the industries or related to the products.
No, because it is the excluded activities in our list. It means that regarding to list to any scales or any type of loan, we've been rejected the credit proposals. If the loan purpose of our clients is fall into any of these 16 activities.
Okay, you're not going to provide any loan relating to the 16 activities.
No.
Yes. No, we will not. Yeah, we will
okay.
reject. Yeah.
Reject all the type of under the 16 activities.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for your clarification. I think I'm done with it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, just to note that most of these activities are, in line with either IFCs or European DFI exclusions. And so we typically ask for a pass-through obligation to our clients to not provide financing to these activities.
All right. I just curious regarding the hydropower and the used ships and palm oil, kind of a little bit vague area that Korea-Exim Bank usually used to provide the loans related to this sector with our internal ENS due diligence. So that's what I'm curious about this sector.
Actually, hydropower EU ships or palm oil is not from the list from IFC and other European DFIs. But when the BP Bank we work with other like ESG rating or some organizations, we know that this sector with have a huge potential on ENS risk. So we decide by ourselves to put into our exclusion list. For example, in palm oil in I think in Vietnam is not very famous, but in Indonesia or Malaysia, palm oil very terrible because they lead into the deforestation, right? So we decided to put into our exclusion list, and use ships is some requirement from our governments. Because use ship, we have the very specific license for reuse or broken the use ships, but it have a rather huge potential in that risk. So we decided to keep it in our exclusion list. And hydropower, I think hydropower project is more about the social issues. So we only considering if the very small scale or run-off hydropower, but in the middle side or large power hydropower scale because the social impact. So we decided to keep it in our expert list.
All right, thank you so much for the explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a few questions on my end. I know that there's some activities that fall outside of the scope of the ENS management system, right? Which is to say that they're not treated if for ENS or there are no ENS considerations related to these transactions. I just wanted to understand how those were defined, those activities that fall outside the scope of the ENS process.
Process bank to how to
Because it's
screen,
not
right?
every single loan that
Yes.
receives ENS treatment, right? There's some
Yeah.
that don't, that the policy requires, that there's no requirements under the policy for you to treat them for ENS consideration. And so I just wanted to understand how that was defined.
Actually, for the screening stage, we also prepare the checklist for our RMs to identify which activities may fall into the excluded list or restricted list. And if they have trouble to identify, so they will come to our ENS team for consultations.
Yeah.
Because at this stage, if the loan proposal, the credit proposal of our customer fall into, for example, excluded activities, we will immediately reject the credit proposals.
Yeah.
So
I guess what I'm talking about is probably like a step before that, right? Is to say that there's some, I'm trying to remember like off the top of my head, like loans to households don't require any ENS screening, right? But there are also other, segments that also fall outside of ENS screening. And so I understand like the retail segment, right? But then for the others that fall out of the ENS screening process, I just wanted to understand how that was identified. I think it was like 6 or 7 like segments that are not necessarily incorporated within the ENS review scope. Yeah.
2 情况
Trong cái ENS nó bao gồm sẽ có đối tượng áp dụng. Anh em nhiều là đối tượng áp dụng số khoản vay cá nhân, khoản vay household là
thì là không rồi. Vâng,
thì vậy
câu hỏi.
làm thế nào để họ
actually, before the screening stage, we have in our policies, ENS policies, we already identify which type of the loan credit type that has to that is the subject to the ENS assessments.
And then the ones that are not.
Yeah, if they are not, they will go like through the credit process as usual without ENS assessments.
Exactly. And so then for the latter category, right? The ones that are not subject to ENS assessments.
Yes.
I'm just trying to understand how that list came about, right? How did you decide, okay, these are the transactions that will not be subject to ENS assessments, or the types of transactions?
Let me show you our policies. So
obviously the policy was in Vietnamese, right?
No, we have the. You haven't sent him the.
The one that we got last night was in.
You received the Vietnamese version, right?
Yeah, but ChatGPT.
We have the
translation one.
Yeah, I mean, I essentially got a summary of everything, so I have a sense of what's going on.
Vibration.
Here in our ENS regulations. Screen. Mình sẽ show screen.
Chị kéo hai bên
Kéo cả cái này sẽ vẫn bàn sang bên này.
Cái này nó lại bị này.
Xong chị nhìn cái đây mà chị.
Okay. So here's our ENS regulations. The first step is the how to say applicable subjects. It means we are here, right? And we win the cases that fall into this regulation is that the credit products and services provided by VBank, but not all the credit product and services except for the list below is like the credit in form of the bank guarantees, except for loan guarantees, issuance of credit card, issuance of LC, not for the purpose of the trade finance, credit for investment in stocks, and credit grantings of retains on household clients. And the last one is the investment or and purchases of the fixed assets to serve the management work of the borrowing customers. So if
This is our scope, right?
the scope,
For example, you can grant to the retail household.
Okay.
But without, like, for example, except for, kind of business, the first something like that. So we take it out of the scope.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
yeah,
It would be helpful to get the English version.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
We'll share a copy.
And
and
then,
after that stage, we went forward to the like here.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, after we define the scope of the ENS assessment, we will go through like initial screenings for credit proposals, screening with the our list is the exclusion list that I showed you before. And then we also have the subjects of the ENS risk assessment, because in some cases, the RM just
so
do.
this is a question I have, right? Around
Yeah.
Article 7, the following cases that are not subject to ENS screening.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to understand, how these were defined. Like I understand retail, right? So I couldn't see the list of sectors exempted from ENS risk assessment.
Yes,
But
they just do the ENS screenings, and then they and then RM will put the result of ENS screening in there's credit report proposal report, and then they stop if it's not subject to the ENS risk assessment.
so you're just looking at exclusion lists and that's it for these.
Yeah, for this type of activities.
Okay, and then how are these, what was the basis for saying these are the activities we're not going to do ENS risk assessment for?
Do you mean how we issue the list, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we for this list we based on first the guidelines from IFC. When you view this ENS regulations, we already have the IFC's guidelines advisories at the very first step in the 2018. We have the IFC experts, and then for them, and then we also have our VBank assessments, like the Polit D is the credit proposals in the annex PL2, because that list of the sector is very small size of the business. It's all fall into the household business.
Okay.
Here you can see the.
Yeah, I think this is the first one from the consultant from IC first.
Yeah.
And the second one, we decided this is because this activity has like a no or very minimum ENS risk. So we can like not require for ENS screening and assessment.
No screening, they say still.
All
they finish all the screening.
We remove from the list of assessment ENS assessment because it's very small and medium.
Fine, I understand that. I have two more questions. One, if there are changes made to the ENS procedures and policies, how are those changes communicated, and how is training provided on those changes?
for change policies, right?
Yeah, so,
but first-
like you mentioned, there was an
Yeah.
update this year, right? So how was that update communicated? And then how were, what process was in place to ensure that, people with responsibilities in the process could deliver on the
Yes.
changes? Yeah.
We have several communication channels with our related units in the bank. For example, if we have the new changes in policies, the first channels is we have the e-office system. In that system, if any of the changes in policy and regulations or guidelines or any documents, so the system will automatically send emails on that changes to all the staff. Yeah, is the first channels, and the second one is our ENS team. We also have the announcements that summarize the changes, summarize the changes and send via emails to all of the related units. And the last one is via our trainings. For example, in the last our enhanced trainings, we already put the new changes in our trainings lecturers, so that all the IM understand that what is changes in our policies and regulations.
Okay, so if I remember, the changes were in September or not September?
The changes is of 2000. Yes, that's September.
September, and then you did a training after September,
After September.
and that training included focusing on the changes that were made.
Yes.
Actually, you have a training yesterday, right?
No,
Training,
last
right?
week.
Yeah, last week, right?
Last one.
Okay.
I think the first, when the change is made, we need to get approval by
Mm.
the management.
Yes, of course.
Before we can announce a new policy. Right?
Sure.
After that, we have some channels to notify the changes or amendments to client, to the staff or related units, like Mr. just mentioned.
Yeah, and for any changes in the documents or policies, we also have to require the to say the comments or reviews from other divisions. For example, we have the new policies we have to send to the SMEs, CIB, CMB, or even the appraiser units for their comments and reviews before we issue the amendment.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then my last question on my end. I think in the questionnaire, you noted that you request periodic reporting from clients, so environmental monitoring reports, I guess other reporting. I just wanted to get a sense of the scope of the reporting you typically require, and then if you ever face challenges getting information from clients.
Báo cáo
monitoring VNS.
Báo cáo về monitoring
Thì mình có require là trên cái form. Đây là đánh giá ban đầu.
Không, đi vào trong cái list này mình có.
Không yêu cầu khách hàng nộp cái monitoring report.
Có gì? Here you can see our example of the ENS questionnaires for mining industry, and in the part 3 of the legal documents, we already for the environment we require the customer to provide the result of periodic environmental monitorings or the annual environmental protection reports, and is the one of our required mandatory requirements to our customer.
This is the ad appraisal questionnaire, or this is?
This is questionnaire. It's our questionnaire.
Không cần mẫu
The one that says use at appraisal or during monitoring?
Yeah, for mình á. We have.
Yeah, we have also have the form for ENS monitoring.
And then is that also considered as part of the ENS covenants and the credit agreements in terms of receiving reporting?
Actually, in term of agreement, we have like a put a condition that the client will share on any documents about the ENS or any requirement from ENS policy. So it's cover the ENS monitoring report.
And for more information is that the credit contract is always signed after the ENS assessments or the credit assessments. It means that the VBank and customer finish all the assessments first, and then if we finish this, so we move to the next step is the signing the credit contract. So if any remaining issues from the ENS assessment, we will put into the credit contract.
Okay. Great, that's it on.
Okay.
Our environmental specialist has a question. She raised her hand, but unfortunately we cannot see her. Can you maybe, Lisa, can you maybe ask your questions?
Yeah. I've raised my hand, but I think yeah, nobody can see that. So would you mind if I ask few questions? I know this is already 11, but I think it's quite important for us to get a better clarity, especially on ENS category. Do you mind explaining, because I saw from the PowerPoint slides, VP Bank category for high risk includes level of compliance to regulations, policies, etc. And I compare it to the Vietnam Environmental Protection Law, where it's quite quantitative in numbers. Say you resettle such and such thousands of people, then it's a medium category. How would you categorize this proportionately, taking into account IFC guidance on categorizations?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dạ vậy, trong đây họ đang hỏi trong 52 cái cách ấy theo quy định Việt Nam ấy, thì đấy chỉ là cái cách ấy để phục vụ họ yêu cầu là và họ đánh giá môi trường theo luật hay không, chứ còn cái cách ấy theo cái.
So my question is that which one do you use? Do you use the national? Do you use the national standards or do you use the IFC guidance for categorization?
Sure. Let me explain this for you. Let's explain for you. Because our policy is like not based on the requirement from the IFC and other DFIs, but the policy of the bank about the ENS, it must follow the requirement from the SBV based on the Circular 17 2022. And based on this circular, the ENS categorization is they set the guidance that you must base on the guidance from the environmental protection law. So that means that's why we have to follow up the list from the environmental protection law to identify the Cat A, Cat B, or Cat C on the environmental side based on the scale, the industry, or like any issue about the ENS. But we also integrated the ENS guidance from IFC on the European DFIs based on our questionnaires or our like a pediatric questionnaire. We try to balance the requirement between all the lenders and the Vietnamese requirements. And I think the second reason we not apply the IFC definition, because that I explained before, it's only the IFC definition only like a qualitative indicators. That's very hard for VP Bank when we implement the ENS policy and how to training or how to guidance out the IM to identify the risk. So that's why VP Bank needs a very detailed list with like a quantitative indicators for everyone can see in the list, and they can identify and pick up and categorization of the risk.
Yeah, and for the guidelines from the SPV, we will use that for the like initial category. For example, if the under the our national law that the project is falling to the category B, but when we combine with the IFC instructions or if we find any severe issues, ENS issues from the customer, we may consider to change the category of the customer from B to A.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think the idea is to first comply with the environmental law on environmental protection, and see different class of investments, for instance, require area for like 1,000 hectares or so. Then after that, even if this is considered category B, you will make sure that you apply IFC or EDFI categorization guidelines. So then, although this is a B, it could be an A from our definition. Am I correct with my understanding?
Yes, it's what we are doing now. It's like we will do first initial category, and then we will use the like additional informations to maybe categorize the projects. But in some cases, it's the same category B after assessments.
Yeah, maybe we can adjust ENS categorization, but only from C to B, B to A. Not reduce A to B or B to C.
Yeah, I understand, because I also know from the law, if you require resettlement 1,000 to 10,000 people, it's still somewhat medium risk. So I think there's quite a gap where you would need to try to recategorize or integrate it with our categorizations. So my next questions related to the sector.
Section, and we have to move to. Sorry, maybe.
Sorry?
If any further section, maybe can we ask if you can send us through the email, or we have another section, because we have another section with HR at 11, and the HR our head of HR she's waiting for the section now. I'm so sorry.
Well, okay.
Okay, that we can organize another for you.
Yeah, I think you can send us a follow-up questions, and we can.
I'll send you a follow-up questions.
Send you later. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She put some questions in the chat that I asked during the presentation.
Yeah, you already asked
there were 2 questions she put in the chat that I asked. But I'm not sure if she had any other questions.
Cô chị Trang à? Chị Trang là
No worry,
Trang NT mỗi này. Sẽ nốt cả 3 bích rồi. Thôi cô.
Hình như nó đang trên rất là chuột. Nó đang đơ, nó đang không. Đây, ok.
Em xem có cần chỉnh hoa cắt loa cho chị.
Chưa lên.
Đây đây.
Giờ mình cho.
Giờ chị cần.
That's the challenge. You have to increase the load processing.
I'm Chang from HR. I'm the head of HR strategy and talent management. I have a few slides today. Some of the information you may already heard. So let me know if the general overview about VB Bank that you want to skip. And then I have said several information about our HR strategy and some of our HR focus program as well, our 2026 focus as well. A little bit about VB Bank again. We already in our 32-year anniversary this year, and our headquarters is right here at this building. We have a total number of staff as of last month, more than 70,000 people. Let me know if you're already familiar with our history line. So basically, this slide shows us the key development stage of VB Bank from the year we established 1993 up to now, 2025. Actually, we haven't updated about our key milestone in 25 yet. But anyway, this is a kind of a storyline of VB Bank. So let me skip that.